Okay. I pledge allegiance to the
to
flag
the flag
of the
of the
United
United
States
States of America
and
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Can we have the executive director's report?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Grinstead. The first thing is an enrollment update of what numbers look like for this year. We've started the way really about the same that we've started every year since this began. And that would be with it currently in Division Stride, we have roughly 555 students. So remember, that's across the entire region. 555 of those students are enrolled with Stride K-12. Edgenuity is roughly 230 full-time enrollments. We do have several that are in 1 or 2 classes as well, but I really only report full-time. So 229 full-time for Edgenuity, which is Imagine Learning. Edmentum, 8 full-time. We're going to get into this in one of my discussion items, but they had some changes with their elementary platform, and so that's why we see a lower number of Edmentum there. Virtual Virginia, roughly 45 full-time and hundreds, maybe even at this point, I would say almost close to 400 single enrollments for single courses. So maybe even more than that, actually. I haven't checked that in a couple of days. So totals for Region 7 Virtual Academy, roughly 837 students that are our kids in district. And this is a new, bigger number, 5,300 out of division students. And that's across 7 school divisions. So this year we have several more school divisions that took out of district. I think we finally saw kind of what that looks like. And we're at roughly 5,300 out of division students for our region. So pretty significant number of kids that are going to be housed in Region 7 this year.
So that's a total of how many for all?
Let's see. If I were to add that, you're putting me on the spot with my math, Dr.
That's okay.
Let's say a little over 6,000 if you include in district and out of division.
Right. I can add it up. I thought you meant to add it. Sorry.
No, I have it separated. I work primarily with those in-district students, but the out-of-division obviously automatically come into my world as well in lots of ways. And so I always report that because it's our divisions are really housing those kids and reporting them to the state. I'm making sure. Okay, so enrollment is technically closed. But as you all know, I work with divisions. So if I need to open enrollment on a case-by-case basis, I do that. Best practice is to place at the beginning of a grading period. Just like every year, August and September is basically pure chaos. And then we get to a point where we can get everybody placed and have a little bit of breathing throughout our day. So we are placed, enrollment is closed, but if we need to get a student in with division approval, we can for any of our providers except for Virtual Virginia. Next week is my administrative withdrawal week. So I will recommend to divisions students that I think need to be dropped and returned in person. So any student that's not meeting expectations, whether that's for communication or grades or compliance with their in-person classes, I will recommend they be removed. And we really do that prior to that 10-1 count date. That's our reason for that. Stride K-12 does it, and that's obviously our biggest provider. If they are enrolled as of 10-1, we pay the bill for those kids. So no matter what, after 10-1, even if we drop them 10-2, they're on the invoice. So next week I make those recommendations. I'm looking at about 30 to 35 drops, which again is comparable to where it always is for me, which puts us around 800 in division kids. We are currently serving several discipline placements, kids who have felonies or can't go back to school or something that limits their ability to be in person. So we do have several of those. We did that last year for the first time. It's a double-edged sword. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it does house those students and give them a place to get instruction if they will do what they're supposed to do. So we are still doing that this year with several discipline placements. All the invoices for this school year have been received and paid by all of our divisions, so we are good there. And just a note, for well, I don't think this even pertains here. And I covered the 10-1 count date. So that is all for my director's report, Dr. Grinstead.
Okay. If I had it in my head correct, that gives us about 6,127 students.
That sounds about right to me, Dr. Grinstead.
Okay.
And
Okay,
I always catch flack. They're like, what do you mean it's plus or minus? I'm like, listen, I drop kids and add kids almost every day. So it's really plus or minus a few kids on either end. So
okay, our fiscal agent report, please.
So that's me too. Everything's me. You have it up through August. Miss Long there with Radford City. Our fiscal agent has provided that through August. We look good. We actually got a check from Imagine Learning at the end of, almost towards the end of summer, that we didn't expect to get. I think they just have a lag in that payment to us. And like I said, all divisions have paid their invoice. But if you have any questions about that, I can answer them, or Dr. Joyce or Carrie Long there in Radford City is happy to answer those as well.
Okay. Action items, I guess do we have enough to approve our minutes?
We do not. And I knew that was going to be the case. I thought about changing the meeting, but just decided to go ahead and go with it. So we will have to move approval of both of those minutes to our next meeting.
Okay. Discussion items. You may have already done the out of division enrollment.
So no, I touched on it, but this one is actually good news for us potentially. So the way that our contract with Stride K-12 reads is, if we as a region are able to take at least 5,000 out of division students by the 10-1 count date, then our cost for our in division decreases. So with our number currently being at 5,300, there is a strong chance that our in division cost is going to be much lower. Now, can I say that with certainty? No. But the last check that I got, we were 300 kids above. They will do the same thing that we do for in-district though, and make those administrative drops. So I will probably contact their head of school, Dr. Moles, I don't know, September 27th, so late next week, and kind of see what our numbers are looking at. But fingers crossed, all of our divisions will see a decrease in division cost if we're able to keep that out of division at roughly 5,000 or 5,000 plus. So that is actually good news, and I just wanted to make sure I put that on an item to hit. I hope that we can see that come to fruition.
And would you send us all an email and let us know on that, please?
I certainly will.
Okay, our Virginia Literacy Act.
Okay, I added this one as a discussion item too, because the Virginia Literacy Act made several changes, obviously, for our in-person students. You all are all aware for those, but it resulted in several changes for our out-of-district students as well. So what does that look like? Edmonton no longer offers K-5 instruction. They did not get approved by the state of Virginia, so they were dropped from K-5. That took out one of our providers. Imagine Learning had to redo their entire K-5 platform. They previously, if you remember, they were a fully asynchronous provider. So what they had to do for K-5 was implement a teacher to teach a course every day, Monday through Friday, for an hour. So now Imagine Learning K-5 actually does have a course component. Again, a double-edged sword, because we have lost students to homeschool for that reason. They wanted the fully asynchronous, and now they have a class session. But I do think overall it's for the better. I am always in support of having that one-on-one opportunity, or that classroom opportunity with the teacher. So the Imagine Learning, in the increase of FaceTime with a teacher, of course, there was an increase in cost for them. So Imagine Learning did increase their price slightly. That's all reflected on the pricing document, and all of our superintendents and key instructional leaders have that. But that did result in more FaceTime with the teacher, but an increased price tag for us. So as expected, to be honest. There was no change really to Stride K-12. They were already having FaceTime with the teacher. They increased it slightly and took away some of the asynchronous components. But other than that, their platform was already set up for that. So it wasn't a huge change, except for more FaceTime there too. And it's not necessarily screen time, it's FaceTime. So they pull them for small groups. They break that up just like you would an in-person class of 90 minutes, that sort of thing. But the Virginia Literacy Act The Virginia Literacy Act did have some resulting changes in the virtual program as well. So just wanted to make sure we noted those changes. Of course, Virtual Virginia, I think they knew those changes were coming down the pipe as the state-sponsored program, and we don't have a lot of K-5 enrollments with Virtual Virginia, but their platform was already set up for that, just like Strides. So.
I hate to leave, but I've got to head up the road.
I know. Bye, Miss Debbie. We'll see ya.
Thank you. Bye, Paul. Let me know of anything I need.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll send you the next meeting day.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Are we ready for the future business?
We are, Dr. Grinstead. Unless there's any questions about how the VLA has made changes. If there's any questions about that, I'm happy to answer. But otherwise, yes, we're good to move forward.
Okay. Our date for next board meeting?
So we have it now that we meet 3 times per year. That puts us at typically December. We know December is hectic. We don't ever meet in December. So that's going to put us at January.
January.
And we typically do the
third week.
I was going to say the 3rd Thursday, don't we, Dr. Grinstead?
Yes, sir.
It's
Yes, ma'am.
16th.
Yes.
That puts us at January the 16th, which works for me if it works for you.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? Do I hear a motion that we accept January 16th for our next meeting day?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Is there any other, Caitlin?
That's it, Dr. Grinstead, our usual start of the year updates. If you have any questions, as always, just give me a call or text me. And Ms. Jones, I'm going to ask for you to stay on after the call if you don't care.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, before we ask for adjournment, important question. How's your son doing?
He's great, Dr. Grinstead. He's 3.5, and I guess now's probably a good time to tell you, unless something changes, I will be having another son in February. So.
Oh, congratulations.
And my last child. I'm done after 2. Mark it down. I am finished. But yes, February I will complete the family unit with a second boy.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. Meeting will be perfect timing to have my meeting, and then I'm taking 6 weeks of maternity leave. So, like I said, unless something happens or changes.
Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Well, we're adjourned.
I
Thank you.
appreciate your
Thank you.
time. I know it's 6:30 on a Thursday is not ideal. So thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.